Hey VC, this is Luke with Hot Wax and Cool Vinyl. Welcome back. Unless this is the first time you're viewing my channel, then simply welcome. Okay, so today is Monday, the 4th of October. It is Pumpkin Spice Everything Month. Yay! No, I hate pumpkin spice. If you're an aficionado of pumpkin spice lattes, muffins, French fries, cereal, chocolate chip cookies, underwear, oil changes, whatever, God bless you, I hate pumpkin spice. Okay, so this week, some records to show from recent purchases, a magazine to show that I picked up at a flea market. So we're going to start with the magazine. I am 59 years old, or 58, I will be 59 shortly. And if you grew up as I did in the late 70s as a teenager and into the early 80s, realistically, if you were a rock and roll fan or a rock fan, you had two main choices to get your news and your magazine from. One was Cream and the other was Circus, and I read both. And they offered a lot of cool insight into the bands, and they always had a poster dead center, which was always cool. And so those were the ones I read through. But there were others. I just really didn't realize it and didn't really care that much. I was like, seriously, it was either Circus or Cream. And those were the main ones. So I'm at this flea market up in Connecticut, about, I don't know, a couple of months back, I guess. And I'm in this booth, and he's got records and a few other odds and ends. And I see he's got some rock magazines. And I'm like kind of thumbing through, and this one caught my eye. It's called Rocket. I had not heard of it before. I don't recall it as a youth. It certainly existed, but I don't recall it. This is the issue from May of 1978. As you can see, it has Rod Stewart on the cover. This is Rod as he started his superstardom disco period. He actually sold a ton of records going completely disco and wooing all the females in the audience. And abandoning most of us who actually dug him from Maggie May and the Faces, etc. But nonetheless, this was there. But I didn't actually buy it for the Rod Stewart or even for the cover, although it does have some cool stuff. It's got, you know, Rockstar America, it's got Chicago, Boston, and Kansas. It's got Dylan, an article on Dylan's split personalities, which I didn't know he had, but apparently he does. And it's got profiles on Alice Cooper, Meatloaf, Styx, Charlie Daniels, Sea Level. I've never heard of them. Check them out. They're not bad. Sea Level and The Section. So, why did I buy this, you're saying, if you weren't a fan of Rod Stewart? Well, the back cover. Because I am a fan of Queen. And in the back cover, as you can see, it's Freddie Mercury and the Champs in concert. This was basically, as you can tell by the play on words, when Queen went from simply being stars to absolute stratospheric superstardom. Yes, this was the News of the World tour. This is We Are the Champions. This is We Will Rock You. And this is really when they just went all out and they became this like monolithic rock group. So, unlike Circus and unlike Cream, these don't have actual posters, centerfold posters, but they do have some really nice color photos of Queen's concerts. Now, understand, we've seen a lot of the Queen stuff, and the movies come out, and so now with hindsight, looking back, you're like, when these guys came out and started touring like this, it was something relatively different. There wasn't a whole lot of people doing the showmanship that these guys were doing, realistically, not in the rock venues anyway. You know, metal stuff, you had Sabbath that was doing some stuff, but these guys really put on a great show. And so it was interesting, and it's always fun to read about it and see the photographs of the period, and it kind of brings me back to those years when I started really following rock and roll, rock, etc., and became a music fan. So that was kind of cool. So if you get a chance, check out Rocket magazine. I don't have any idea what they cost or what they don't cost. That was not more than a couple of dollars. So anyway, so moving on to the records. And again, I'm only going to show a handful. Last week, I showed a couple of Led Zeppelin Japanese pressing import 45s that I had bought at this yard sale on Sunday. So this Saturday, these folks were having another yard sale, and I happened to stop in. It was late in the day. They were just about getting ready to finish up, but I kind of walked down the driveway and I said, "Hi, I don't know if you remember me. I'm the gentleman who took a look at the records last week. I really have some more time now. If it's possible, may I see them again?" And the lady was really sweet. She was like, "Absolutely, go ahead." And she opened the garage, and sure enough, the records were stacked exactly the way I had left them. So nobody else had really gone through them. And so I had much more time on my hands this time, so I was able to go through them a little bit better. And so I grabbed the 45s first, and sure enough, I did find another Zepp Japanese pressing 45, and this one slipped past because it doesn't have a picture sleeve on it. It's simply the 45 in the inner, and this is, of course, it's communications breakdown. Again, this is P117A. It is a Japanese pressing, and you can really just, by comparisons, and just out of curiosity, because I know the Japanese pressings are always a better pressing, but by comparison, I happen to have the U.S. version of Communication Breakdown. I just kind of grabbed the two of them, and this is so much heavier. Really, it's grams heavier than the U.S. pressing. So I could see where it would be a higher quality recording. But nonetheless, even though it doesn't have a picture sleeve, it's still a Japanese pressing. It's still Led Zeppelin 45s. This is on Atlantic. It's not on Swan. It was cool. I liked it. I grabbed it. I was able to get that. Also, same yard sale. Fun stuff. You got to have some fun in your collection. It can't all be music that makes you think, or you just want to sit down and analyze. You've got to have some poppy fun stuff, right? So here's Incense and Peppermint. It's Strawberry Alarm Clock. Fun poppy stuff from the 60s. The record is okay in as far as condition. The cover's got some moderate wear on it, but it doesn't matter because it's just a fun record. And if you're not familiar with Incense and Peppermint, play it on Alexa, whatever. You're going to have a great time listening to it. Like I said, it's a poppy album. It's fun. It's really not a whole lot of thought involved in it. It's just a great 1960s bubblegum pop album. So that was one of them. A little bit more on the psych side. This was cool. This is the Moby Grape. This was the repress, and you'll notice it's not the one in which Stevenson is giving everyone the finger. He is not. It's the second one with the hand closed. The original copy had him going like this on the washboard, and of course we can't have that in the 1960s. We can't. That's a no-no. Puritans abounded. But nonetheless, this is a good album. This one actually came with the poster originally in it, and it's really in good shape. I mean, there's no tack holes, and it is indeed the whole poster. So I was very, very, very cool. Let me open this up. And it's kind of, I always find it cool when you find albums that came with posters and still have them in them. It's just so much more fun. The album itself, the cover is okay. It does have a lot of "it's been in my garage" smells to it, so I'm going to air it out. I haven't even had a chance to really get into it too deeply. This was from this Saturday, and I missed it the first go around. I don't know how, but I did. This is a later pressing, as you can tell by it's not a Columbia 2i. A lot of their Moby Grape stuff, the earlier stuff was Columbia 2i. I believe this was a 71 or a 70 press. Nonetheless, it's cool because it has the poster, and that's always fun for me anyway. Also from this yard sale, this is really cool. And I was considering actually leading with this, and then just because I forget things, I forgot. This is Who Live at Leeds, and now this is on Decca, and according to the little bit of research I've done, and it could be completely off because again, it's from the interwebs, and even though people think the interwebs never lie, they really, really do. Sometimes the interwebs lie. According to the interwebs, this particular Decca Who Live at Leeds album was from only 150,000 copies of this one was, and this one has all the goodies inside. Aside from the actual album, which I played yesterday because I couldn't wait, and it sounds fantastic. This is the album. And what really got me excited when I saw this at the yard sale was all the goodies that had in the gatefold. Starting with the poster, of course. So it has an actual poster in it, just like Moby Grape. This guy kept all the stuff together. So we have the One Who poster. And then all the other stuff, which is really cool. It is 12 pieces all together. Of the Who stuff that came with the Who Live at Leeds original Decca album. You've got let's see if I show you that. And there's also 12 pieces. This is the talent agency. This is pretty cool. This is the payment to go to Woodstock. The contract for the Woodstock. It has the King Agency's letter of rejection saying they're not quite sure if the Who has anything that they can offer them. It has My Generation lyrics and corrections. I mean, it's just really wild, you know? And of course, the promo shot of the Who itself. So, all that with the Who Live at Leeds and the gatefold from Decca. Really, really, really psyched about this. You know, on the record, actually, it needed to be cleaned. It was really dusty. But once I cleaned it, it played flawlessly. So I was like, you know, wow, that's awesome. And so I found this. I got it. Whether it's really only 150, I have no idea. But nonetheless, it's in my collection now. I'm really pumped. And finally, in conclusion, we have a local radio station here at WLNG, which has something daily called Swap and Shop. And basically, it's exactly what it sounds like. You call in or you send a letter and, you know, it's like you want to sell something, you got 45 minutes and they put you on the air and, you know, you call in or you send or an actual snail mail or an email. And I generally, from time to time, will send an email saying, you know, I'm a record collector looking for records. And sure enough, I got a text from a guy in East Hampton. Now, East Hampton is about 35 miles from me, which was very misleading because Long Island, essentially when you get to where I live, the expressways all end and everything's either a 2-lane highway or a 1-lane road. East Hampton is exactly that. It's a 2-lane up to a certain point, then 1 lane all the way in. Traffic is murder, so it takes about an hour to get there, an hour and a half. It's on a good day. So I call this guy and I said, can you send me some of the photos? And he sends me some photos of the records. And I see, you know, a Miles Kind of Blue and a few other odds and ends. And I'm like, okay, how many records are we talking about here? You know, I just need to know what kind of collection we're looking at, etc. And he's like, well, you know, I don't know, thousands. I said, okay. I mean, you know, all right, thousands. Usually when I say thousands, it's about 400 albums. Make arrangements, set it up, meet you Saturday. I'll be there around 1:30. Drive all the way out there, get out to this guy's house, get in there. Goes, yeah, come on, I'll show you where the records are downstairs. Brings me downstairs, and I'm like, so 25, maybe 35 albums, and 100, maybe 245s in total. Where's the rest? And he's like, oh no, this is it, man. This is like, I'm like, okay, thank you very much for showing it. I look through his collection, and I'm like, yeah, the kind of blue I already have, and the one you have is really, really kind of roached. And there really isn't anything here for me. This is not for you, but thank you so much for showing me your record collection. It was very nice to meet you. And inside I am fuming. I just drove an hour and change to see 1000's of records, which was actually 20 albums, and who knows. I had one record that was even remotely interesting, and it was like, this. And it was... Now, this is cool because this is not... this is the gatefold, the Friday and Saturday nights. Miles in person at the Blackhawk. Now, I do have the singles, but... he had this, and I was like, it's cute, but not for me. It's nice. It's got the great lyric sheet, and the cover's really, and actually really, really nice condition. It is a Columbia 6i, and that was kept well. The record's not as much. I played them both. There's a lot of scuffing, and there's moderate noise throughout, which becomes really kind of difficult in the softer portions. But he goes, look, you want this thing? And I was like, no, not really. It's kind of banged up, as you can see. I mean, and I have them. So anyway, long story short, he said, look, just give me $10 and you can have it. I was like, okay, for $10 I'll take it. You know what I mean? It's like, I'll just throw it in my collection. So lesson learned. When they have 1000's of 20 albums, don't go. Don't. Just stay home. It's easier. Nonetheless, it was a nice drive. East Hampton and the eastern part of Long Island is actually quite beautiful. And my wife and I got to drive together, and we had some lunch, and we hit a couple of thrift stores on the way back. And so it was a pleasant afternoon drive. It just was not a necessary afternoon drive. All you had to do was tell me, hey, guy, I got about 20 albums and about 345s. Which was really about 120 45s, and I would have said thank you, I'll pass, but I'll recommend it to I got a guy who likes 45s, maybe he's interested. C'est la vie. It is what it is. I know almost every one of you has had a similar experience, and it is what it is. We get it all the time. So if you like my channel, please subscribe, leave me a comment. You guys already know I love the interplay. I back and forth in the comments. It's always fun for me. It's enjoyable. Have a great fall, first week of your October. If you're a pumpkin spice fan, hey, enjoy that latte. For the rest of us who hate pumpkin spice, I'll just have a cup of coffee. All right, cheers.